Hi ladies, and welcome to our first video that we're going to be putting out while we're all in lockdown. This one is to do some colouring in. So we have got this lovely little lady here that we're going to be colouring in, and I'm just going to show you how I do it, and we're just going to be using our coloured pencils, and we're going to use some blending solution and some blending stumps. We sell all of these things at the shop. So first of all, I'm just going to show you, this is the stamps that I'm going to be using. They're a Couture Creations brand, and they're called You Go Girl. So there's 3 different girls in this range. We do have the stamps available for sale. They're about $9.95 for the stamp, and you get the full stamp, you get the sentiment, and then you get these cool, funky little pieces that you can actually stamp as backgrounds or add them onto your card. We do have some kits available as well. So the kits will have 4 cards in them with the card bases and whatnot. So they're going to look something like this in the kit, and they'll go up on our Facebook page in the next day or so for you to purchase. We only have 6 available, so it'll sort of be first in, best dressed as far as that goes. Also with the stamps, we only have a few available as well. But they are something that I could order for you, so if you miss out on the first go, I can order them in for you later on if you need me to. So today we're going to be just doing some colouring in. Now this will be a bit of a longer video because it does really take about half an hour for me to colour this whole piece in. I'm also going to be colouring in just a floral piece as well, and I'll show you what that looks like. This one is unavailable to purchase, but this does come in the kit, so you will actually get one of these in the kit, and that finished card looks like this. Okay, so that's what it actually looks like. So, and this one I'm just going to show you how we're going to be doing the two-tone blending, but I'll show you that after I've coloured this one in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with this. Now, a couple of things I want to mention. Colouring in. I'm going to be using the Kaisercraft brand in the coloured pencils. You can use any coloured pencil. Now, you're best to use a wax pencil, so it needs to be nice and waxy. So anything like your Faber-Castell or your Crayola or Derwent, any of those will work. Probably your watercolour pencils won't work, but these are just your stock standard waxy pencils. Okay, so the darker the pigment, the better result that you're going to be getting. So, and then we're going to be blending that out using some blending stumps and using some blending solution. Again, we sell all of these at the shop for you. We do have some available, but it's something we stock all the time. So if we don't have it right now, we can get that in for you as well. There's probably already a few ladies that already have all of these supplies because we did do it in class a couple of months ago. So we're just going to get started first of all by doing the hair. So sit back and enjoy, and hopefully I'm going to keep everything in frame for you. This is my first time doing this by myself, so hopefully it's going to be successful. And yeah, see how we go. All right, so I'm going to first of all start by putting some colour in. Now, another thing I'm going to mention is where I've got my phone filming this, it may shake a little bit, so I do apologise if it is a bit shaky. I'll do my best to try and not shake it, but because I'm using a lot of pressure on these, it may cause my bench to shake a little bit, so I apologise if that happens. So what we're going to first of all do is put some colour in. Now, when we're colouring, what we've got to make sure we do, and this is a lot of mistakes when we're using blending solution, we need to put a lot of colour in. Okay, so we are doing our best to try and colour and put a lot of colour down. It's no good just doing a nice light blend like this, because that is not going to work for this process that we're going to be doing. Okay, so when I do this, there's no sort of right or wrong way to be doing this. I'm just going to be blending bits and pieces down this lady's hair. So I find I'm not really an expert when it comes to colouring in by any stretch, but I just try it and see how I go. Okay, so I just try and put little bits of colour throughout the hair as I go down. And again, we're trying to build lots of colour into there. I find at the hairline, like at the very front of the hairline, is where I put the bulk of my colour, because that looks probably best if it's got a fair bit of colour in it, and even that little bit as it comes down around the forehead bit of the hair. Now the idea with the hair is to get it so that it's looking blended. We don't want it just to all look one monotone colour. Okay, so here is one that I've already coloured in just to show you. This is what we're looking to try and get. So see how we have the darker and the lighter bits of the hair blended in here. This is what we're trying to achieve with this. So you don't have to be too fussy with where you're putting your colour, and we don't need to colour the whole lot in. We just need to be putting a little bit of darker colour here and there. Okay, so I think that's probably about it for the hair. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to be colouring this in with the Gamsol, or with the, we call it blending solution. What it actually is it is a odorless solvent. So it's there's no smell to it, but it is flammable, and it is quite dangerous if it will catch on fire. So you do need to be very, very careful when you're using it. This is the one that I've got. I've had this for quite some time. The one that we sell at the shop is a little bit different. But don't be tempted to use like mineral terps or anything like that, because it won't work, okay? So you really actually need to use the proper product for this one. So the blending stump that I'm going to use is going to be number 5. So it's a nice thick one, and I'm going to use this one because we've got a bit of a bigger area to colour in with this one. What I'm going to do is, this is just a sanding board. Now, if you don't have a sanding board, you could just use an emery board like this, or you could use just a bit of sandpaper. But what we're going to do with this, see how we have a little bit of colour on the top here? We are just going to be using this to sand any of that colour off, so that it doesn't contaminate our next colour. So what I like to do is to sand it off, then I like to just use my scissors, and I hope everyone can see this, and I'm just shaving the little bit of loose paper off. So I'm not actually cutting it, I'm just shaving that little bit off. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use our blending solution, and we're going to pop our paper stump in. Now, what we need to do is we need to sit it in there for a little bit so that it starts absorbing into our paper stump. Once we've done that, I'm just going to tap off, and then I'm going to start blending. Now, I might just zoom this in a little bit so that you can see this a little bit closer, how I'm going to be blending this. Okay, so hopefully that will be in shot perfectly. Now, what we're going to be doing, we always start our blending where our actual colour is. It's no good starting down where there's no colour, because you're not going to be able to get it to melt anything. So it's going to be senseless. So always remember to start your blending in where the bulk of your colour is. Okay, so to start with, you might need to dip it in a few times, but as the paper stump absorbs more of that blending solution, the less time you're actually going to have to dip it in there, because it will already have a fair bit of solution built up within that paper stump. Okay, so what I generally do is I generally start off with little circles to activate, and then I tend to just go into sort of strokes to blend down. Now the idea is to try and not get a whole heap of colour going down so that you get that little bit of a blended look. So if you can see here how this is lighter, I haven't actually worried too much about making sure that there's too much colour there. I'll leave that so it's a little bit lighter. Okay, so now I'm just going to go down to this part here. This is very close near the little hands here, so I've got to be a little bit more careful. Okay, so that's one side of the hair done. Now, a little thing I want to show you on the other side, if you don't want too much colour into this lighter area, this is where you can start on this lighter area and then work the lighter into the darker. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to start our little circles in here, and as you can see, there's not very much colour, and we're going to work into our darker colour here, and we're going to be bringing that down, but we're not going to be bringing it straight down into where we've created this lighter bit. Okay, so we're going to see how I've done that. I've sort of gone around it so that it's going to create that lighter piece as well. So if you don't want to go too much colour, start off the colour and blend into the colour. Okay. If you want that nice dark blend, then you're going to start on the colour and then pull it down off the colour. Okay, I hope that makes sense to everybody. You will actually see as you're going along with this, you'll see the actual wax in the pencil almost melt, and then you'll see it sort of blending and coming together. So if you choose to not blend a section, you will see that it looks more like a coloured pencil lines and not the actual blending. So my advice is blend all of the actual coloured pencil. So even if you don't want to, even if you just want to keep it dark, just blend it into circles like that and not pull it up or push it down anywhere else, but make sure you've kept it all coloured in. Okay, so hopefully you're able to see that. I'm just going to zoom out now so that we can do our next bit of colouring in. So now I'm actually going to go on to the skin, and that's probably what people find the hardest when they come to colouring, is to get that skin to look right. So I'm going to use this pencil here. It's called Buff. Now, I recommend if you're going to do skin, to use either a really pale peach colour, very soft pink, a really pale lemon or yellow colour, or even a really soft brown colour. So when we do this, what we're going to do, again, we're going to start by just coming in to the hairline. So we're just going to go right along the edge of the hairline. I think that camera's shaking again, I'm sorry. So see there how I'm just going in to the hairline. Okay, I'm going to go down the bridge of the nose. I'm coming down the side. Here's her ear here, down the side here, right around underneath her chin, and back up to her glasses. I'm then going to come down her neck. And see, I'm just going along the edge. I'm not colouring all of the skin in. I'm just going along the edge of all of her skin areas. Underneath the chin as well. Now, you don't have to be too fussy with this. It doesn't have to be perfect strokes or anything by any means. We're just trying to get that nice, rich colour in. Okay, her fingers. Hopefully I've got this in shot. Put a bit more extra colour in there. Okay, now because there's such a big amount on this forehead bit, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to be putting my pencil on the side, and I'm just going to be doing a really soft blend now. The reason I'm doing this is because we don't actually want too much colour there, but we just want to be able to blend that in as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do, again, we're going to go in with our paper stump, and I'm just going to sand that off and make sure that I've got no other colour that I don't want on there, because it will really show up and be noticeable, especially when we're doing this particular pale skin tone colour. You're going to see everything. So again, just using my scissors and just making sure that that's all nice and pointed and flat. Okay, so we're going to dip in, and we're just going to start blending just from the hairline. So we're just going along the hairline, and we're just blending that down. Okay, at this point I generally turn it around so that I can blend from the hairline and then pull it out as well. Okay, so see how I've done that? Now we're going into the nose. I just might zoom this in a little bit for you so that you can see a little bit closer how I'm doing this blending of this bit here. Now I think the trick to doing this is to not try and be too quick with it. So just slow it down and enjoy the process. So don't try and to get it done quickly. I think being a little bit more patient and just taking a little bit more time and not sort of, you know, speeding up and down up here. Just get each of those little sections that you're working on to blend and to melt and to, you know, to look nice and blended before you go on to the next section. Just a little bit of time, a little bit of patience is all you need. Something we've got plenty of at the moment, plenty of time to do our crafting with no one really being able to go to work or doing anything. Okay, so we're just about finished this hand bit. So you can sort of see already there that we have quite a blended, sorry, I think I was out of the shot then, quite a bit of blended image there. Now what I'm going to do, just to add a little bit more depth to this and to make it look a little bit more authentic looking, I'm going to do a little bit of shadowing. So I'm not the best when it comes to where shadows lie, but basically what I'm aiming for is the sun to be sort of sitting up in the corner here and shining down. So basically anything on this side is going to be shadowed. That's how my thought process works. So I'm just going to be using a little bit of a browner sort of a color. Now this color is called Toffee, but yeah, any sort of browner color. So I'm putting a little bit of brown in where the hairline is there. Just a little bit on the side here. I'm going to come down through the glasses, down along the edge of her jawline here. I'm going to go underneath the sunglasses just a bit, not too much, not right up to her nose, just underneath the sunglasses bit here. I'm then going to come down the side of her neck and underneath her chin. Okay, so I'm quite sure underneath the chin we're going to get some shadowing and some shading. And then I'm going to come along and down her next to her arm. On her hand, I'm going to be doing underneath where her palm is sort of clenched a fist, and then I'm going to go along and down the side of her arm here. So even without that being blended, you can already see how it already looks like it's a little bit shadowed, and it looks a little bit you know, more authentic with the skin tone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be blending that actually in. So again, we're going to put our blending stump, and we're going to just start with little circles, and we're just going to be blending that in. Okay, so we're going to go down here next to the glasses and around the glasses. Now you can see I don't have too much solution on my stump at the moment. I don't want to be spreading this too far, so I just want to keep it sort of to these bits where I've actually done the shadowing. Okay, so I'm doing circles, and then I'm going to sort of pull it down. Okay, so I'm going across and then pulling down, and the same with this side bit here. Again with the hands, we're just going to go in here. Okay, so there is our lovely lady with her shaded skin there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to go into these little spots. So I'm just going to do all these little spots here, and I'm going to do these in a nice tealy green. It's called Sea Breeze. Okay, so when I do these, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of colour them in half. So I'm not going to colour the whole thing in, just in half. Now it doesn't really matter whether it's the top, whether it's the bottom, whether it's the side. It doesn't really matter which part of this you're going to be colouring in. I'm mainly going for the sort of side and for the bottom, but we can definitely go to the top as well. So there's really no right or wrong way when it comes to this being done. I'm not really worried about where the shadow's lying or anything with these particular spots. These are just so that it looks nice. Okay, so all right. So now we're going to be using our number 1 paper stump, because these are only tiny. We want them to, we don't want to use anything too big because we'll go out of the lines too easily. Okay, so again, I'm just sanding that off, making sure that there's no other colour there to contaminate, popping it into my blending solution, tapping off, and then just colouring them in. Now I've got this zoomed out. Hopefully everyone can see this close enough. But I'm just doing the same as what I did with the hair and the skin. So mainly with these ones, all we need to do is we just need to do some little circles just to activate that. Okay, because these are such small little amounts that we're colouring in, there's not going to be a great deal of blending in it. Okay, but you will see a little slight bit of light and shade in this one. Okay, so they're just about finished now. Okay, so that's our little spots all finished. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do now is I am going to be doing the rest of her top. So I'm going to do that in a nice purple colour. Now, you can just choose whatever colours you want. There's no right or wrong when it comes to colouring in. And this process that we're doing now, I'm doing this on little girls, but look, it can work with any of your stamps that you have. So it doesn't matter what stamps you've got at home. Anything that you can colour in basically is going to work with. So this is a good opportunity to get all of those lovely stamps that you have out there that you haven't really used so much because you're not sure of how to colour in or how to do it. So, I mean, you can do Copic markers, you can do so many different colouring techniques. And look, I'm definitely no expert when it comes to colouring in. I just do the best that I can do, and just sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. It's all right. It doesn't really matter. So it's just giving it a go, and honestly, practice makes perfect. So the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll feel. So do give it a go, give it a try, and just see what sort of results you come up with. Might come up great first time. If not, doesn't matter, try again. Okay, so now I'm going to be using a different size paper stump this time. So this one I'm going to be using is a number 2. It's upside down, number 2. Okay, so now we're going to just be putting this in. Okay, and again, we're just going to be blending this out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up and do that whole long section there that I'd done all in one piece. And then we're going to be doing these spots. Now, this you have to be a little bit careful with because they're so close. The spots are so close to what you're colouring in here with the purple. You just have to take a little bit of time to get all of these blended in. So if you find this stump's a little bit too big and you can't get in between these little bits, then you might need to go down to a smaller paper stump and go to a 1 or something like that. But it seems to be working for me at the moment, so I'll leave it at that. Again, see how I'm not dipping it in too much. The more liquid you have on, the more chances of it running into each other. So you're best not to try and put too much on if you're getting that nice smooth blend. If you're not, then you might have to then add some extras on. Okay, so that's her top done. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go on to her eyes. So her eyes, we're going to make a beautiful blue. So this colour is Ocean. And we're just going to be doing just one side of her eyes, and then we're going to sweep the colour over. Okay, so again, I'm just going to use my little tiny number 1 paper stump and sand that off. Okay, dip that in, tap off, and then again we're just going to be ever so careful with this one because we don't want to go out of the lines. Okay, that's about all we need for her. Okay, we might give her a emerald ring. This one I'm actually just going to colour in because I just want that to be completely coloured, and I'm just going to use the GAMS, the blending, just to make it look blended. Okay, her lips are going to be the next one we're going to do, and I'm just going in mainly at the side, but we are going to be going along the top and underneath as well. Okay, now I'm not sure whether I said it early on, but this is where you really need a nice sharp pencil. So that's another thing, a little clue, a little hint, and something that will make your colouring in much nicer is if you have a really nice sharp pencil. So rather than having it blunt and going out of the lines, it's much nicer if you use a nice sharp pencil. So there's her beautiful lips. So now we're going to do her glasses. Now you could just leave them like that, but playing around I did get to find I'm going to do some shading. So this time I'm going to be shading darker, then lighter, then darker. So the way I'm going to do this is just with the same purple, and we're going to start our shading. So see how I've done that? So we're sort of looking more like stripy lines. Okay. So we want them darker on each edge and lighter in the middle. Okay. Now we're going to go in with our big paper stump to blend that out. Again, it's a little bit of a bigger. Okay, so we're just going to now, we're going to do the same sort of thing. We're just going to be blending the same sort of way as how we coloured in. So we're just sort of going over it like that. And again, we don't want too much pressure in the middle because we don't want too much colour in that little middle bit there. Okay, so that's our lovely lady finish. Now, I think it looks really nice if we colour in around the border around her. That just makes her stand out a little bit more. You don't have to, but it's something that I do. And the way I do that is just by putting a little bit of colour just along the edges. Again, as you can see, we're not fussing too much. All we're doing is making sure we get a lot of that colour in. Okay. Going to come down the side here, down under her neck. This is a confusing bit when you're doing the hair, which bit is hair and which bit is actual the outside of the picture. Okay, so now I'm going to use my big blending stump because it's a fairly big area, and I'm just going to be blending that in. So again, starting with our little circles and blending up, turning it as we need to turn it. Okay, so we've got those darker around the edges and we've got that nice faded blending closer to the center of that piece. Okay. I could have even gone with a smaller paper stump for this, but it seems to be working okay. Okay, so that's our finished lady. Now, I'm just going to, as I said to you, show you how I go about doing our sunflower or our big flower and getting that two-tone blend. So the same sort of thing, we're going to start, first of all, I'm just going to do some of the petals. So we're just going to start putting our yellow just at the base of our petals. I might do a couple over here too. And then what we're going to do is we're going to then put some orange right on our tips. Now, I know that's shaking a lot, sorry, but it's because I'm trying to get such a concentrated amount of colour onto this. Now again, this two-tone can be done with any colours that you want. There's no sort of right or wrong. Now the other thing I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do it on one of the leaves, is we're going to be doing some darker green when it comes to the base of the leaf, which is closest to the petals of the flower, and then we're going to put some lighter green towards the outside edge. And again, I'm not fussing too much when it comes to the actual. Okay, so we might use this size paper stump. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting with this, and we're going to start first of all with the yellow. So when we do this, we're just looking at blending the yellow and just pulling it down ever so slightly. So we're not going to be pulling it right down. We are just going to be just pulling it just probably, I don't know, maybe about halfway down the petal. Okay. Now, if you were to do this, you would go and do all of the yellow and do all of the yellow blending first. Because once that yellow is all fully blended, what we're going to do then is we are then going to sand off that yellow so we don't get a contamination. And then we're going to go in, tap off, and then we're going to blend our orange side. Okay, so we're going to be doing our orange side and then blending it into the yellow. Okay. I generally like to try and do it so that the top, and then I can pull down with the colour. So I like to try and turn my paper so that it feels comfortable to do that. Okay, so that's our lovely yellow to orange blend. Now we're going to do the green. So I'm going to use the other end of the stump, and there is a little bit of colour on there, so I'm just going to take that off and make sure that it doesn't contaminate our green that we want to use. We're going to dip into our blending solution. Okay, so now I'm going to start with the dark green first. So we're just going in, activating our wax on our pencil and melting it, and then just pulling it down. So again, we're not going the whole way down, pulling it right to the end. We're only going, look, about halfway. Then we're going to be sanding that one off with our sanding block. And then we're going to be going in. Now again, I like to turn this around because I like to work in with the lighter colour, and then I'm going to be pulling that down. But whatever's comfortable for you is the way that you would do it. That feels right for me. Okay, so that is how we do our two-tone blend. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I've done pretty good with keeping everything in the image. I am sorry, I know there will be some shaking in there. I'll have to try and sort that out with further videos. I have my little phone attached to my desk, so when I'm colouring, the desk actually shakes and it causes it to shake, so I do apologise for that. But hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'm hoping to bring you some more videos with some more products. So again, we are open for the kits that we'll be putting up on Facebook every couple of days, and we can definitely do you know, some stock as well. If anyone runs out of anything or needs anything, just give us a call. Sam has the shop phone diverted to her, so any calls will be answered. You can pop us an email, or you can you know, do a message on Facebook. And we do have FPOS facilities available for you to pay for your products. We can also post to you, or we can deliver and collect cash, whatever suits everybody. So I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy and enjoying some crafting time, and hopefully we'll get to do some more of these videos. I'm sorry it's gone a bit long. You can fast forward bits if you want to, so that you don't have to be listening to my voice the whole time. Anyway, thanks a lot. See you later. Bye.